Nurses, male and female, make you want to live. My son, he was dying for 15 months. It was the nurses that gave him hope all the way through. And when I lost my wife and daughter, and my kids were hospitalized, my two boys were in a tractor trailer, nurses. I'm not being nice. It's a reality. The single most consequential profession and most underrated.
Nurses. Just real quick, I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers. I'm not trying to start no mess. I'm just trying to see how y'all feel now that the Trump administration.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Lucas Tech. Today we are talking about something serious. How Joe Biden speaks about nurses with deep respect and how many Americans are reacting to Trump administration's new policies that change how nurse degrees are recognized. I pray Joe Biden's emotion message, then we look at what America are saying about how nurses are being treated today with Trump administration.
He points out that you would like to add a public option to Obamacare, and
Yes.
the argument that he makes and other Republicans make is that that is going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
well, if I
sorry.
can ask you the question, it will
Not
end
what your party says, by the way.
it will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that free in most states, except governors who want to deny people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who qualifies for Medicare would, Medicaid would automatically be enrolled in the public option. The vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option. Number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie Sanders, who's far left, on the manifesto, we call it, and that gives you socialized medicine.
Look, hey,
Are you saying
I'm not
you
going to
didn't
listen
agree?
to him. The fact of the matter is, I beat Bernie Sanders.
Not by much.
I beat him a whole hell of a lot. I'm here
much.
standing facing you, old buddy.
Pocahontas would have left
Well,
2
I
days
tell
early.
you,
You would have lost every primary.
All he knows how to
on
do
Super
is hurt.
Tuesday. You got
Look,
very lucky.
here's the deal. I got very lucky. I'm going to get very lucky tonight as well. And tonight I'm going to make
what?
sure, because
With what?
here's the deal. Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so far is simply a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree.
want to
Hey,
make
Joe,
sure.
you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, not first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that. He has,
You'd be surprised.
You pick
You'd be surprised.
the
Go ahead,
wrong
Joe.
guy,
Go,
the wrong
go,
night
Joe,
at the wrong time.
Listen, you agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders to the
The
manifesto.
whole idea.
Let
Now you're
him-
disavowing it.
There
Go ahead.
is no manifesto, number
Please
one.
let him speak, Mr.
Number
President.
two.
You just lost the left.
Number two.
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan
Folks,
that's absolutely
folks,
agreed
do you have
to,
any
and under that
idea
plan,
what
you have
this clown's
socialized,
doing?
They call it
Mr.
Medicare.
You have any
President.
do?
Socialized medicine.
Mr.
Well,
President,
I'll tell you what. He is not for any help for people needing health care. Because
Bernie?
because he, in fact, already has cost 10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two,
yeah.
there are 20 million people getting health care through Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. Take it away.
No, I want to give
Number
them better
three.
health care at a much lower price
But-
because
and by the way,
Obamacare
he doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a
fixed
plan.
it to an extent.
He has never
Obamacare,
done a
as
single
you might
thing.
know, but probably don't.
Gentlemen, you
is
realize
no
if you're
good,
both
Joe.
speaking at the
It's no
same
good,
time,
and it's too expensive.
let the president go ahead.
This Trump thing with nurses, it's not an insult. What it did was expose how broken college pricing really is. Let me be clear. I'm not commenting on this as a politician. I'm speaking as someone who spent years inside the economics of higher education. I created College Money Academy. It's part of my overall financial caffeine brand. I've worked with financial planning firms. I've been on major podcasts. I was interviewed by the media several times. I've stood beside the head of enrollment at a major Division I university on a joint project. And after all of it, I've come to one conclusion. The government's involvement in student loans didn't solve the problem. It made it worse. Far worse. Most people don't know this, but the pivot point was actually in 1992 when the FAFSA system and federal funding became the backbone of college financing. Once the government guaranteed unlimited money, universities stopped competing on price. They started competing on amenities, on expansion, and on prestige. And pricing didn't come down, they skyrocketed. Families weren't given access, they were handed debt and told to be grateful. And that's not access, that's a financial trap. Now, recently, there's been a lot of emotion around changes tied to certain advanced degree funding. But here's what most people don't understand. When the government stops pumping unlimited money into a system, that system gets forced to face reality. If universities want to keep certain programs, they can't just pass the bill to the families anymore. They have to price them at what people can actually afford. That's how pressure works. That's how markets work. That's how costs finally come down. In College Money Academy, I teach one foundational truth. Colleges are businesses, education is their product, and their pricing is shaped by who's funding them. Change the funding model, and you change the pricing model. And that's what's missing with this whole conversation about Trump and nurses. Now let me bring this home because this one hits close to my heart. My wife is a nurse. She's worked night shift for 25 years. I've watched her miss holidays. I've watched her go into work exhausted, certainly coming home exhausted. I've watched her give everything to care for other people. And I've seen 3 of her close friends go back to school later in life for advanced nursing degrees and take on massive student loan debt in their 40s and 50s. Not because they were reckless, not because they made bad decisions, but because they were told this is the only way. That's not a system helping nurses. That's a system exploiting them. So when funding changes put pressure back on universities instead of working families, that's not an attack on nurses. That's correction. Because no profession should need $100,000 in debt just to serve people better. My wife and I have lived this. We've seen what it does to families, to marriages, to mental health. And the only thing that fixes it is changing the economics. Not more loans, not more debt, certainly not more government money, but real pressure on the institutions that keep raising prices because they know someone else will pay. Nurses deserve better, teachers deserve better, families deserve better. And until we treat higher education like an economic system instead of an emotional one, the people who sacrifice the most will keep paying the highest.
I don't give a fuck. I'm still in the motherfucking house. I'm still in the motherfucking house. I don't give a fuck. Do I look like I give a fuck? Because I don't.
A federal judge in California just ruled that nurses who hold doctorates, like DNPs, cannot legally call themselves doctor or use the prefix DR in a healthcare setting. This all started back in 2023 when 3 nurse practitioners with doctorates sued the state after 2 of them were fined thousands of dollars for calling themselves doctors online and in professional materials. The judge, Jesus Bernal, said that the term is inherently misleading, commercial speech if used by non-physicians around patients and therefore not protected by the First Amendment. He pointed to an AMA survey showing that nearly 40% of patients believed a DNP was a physician, which he said proves the potential for confusion. The judge also argued that when DNPs use the title doctor in a clinical setting, they're essentially advertising their expertise to attract patients, which gives the state power to regulate it. The nurse practitioner's attorney said the ruling censors professionals who are being truthful about their credentials and that disclosure could have solved the issue without an outright ban. On the other side, The California Medical Association and the AMA praised the decision, saying it protects patients by making sure they know exactly who is providing their care. This debate has been going on for years, and now the ruling could set the tone for other states looking to pass similar laws.
I made a video a couple of days ago about doctors for Trump. It was pretty successful. A lot of nurses, though, said, hey, what about us? What about nurses for Trump? And I realized it's a very good idea because nurses are much more outgoing, much more sociable, and they're much more courageous when speaking their mind. Doctors have to consult their lawyer and their accountant and their spouse before they even put on a pair of pants. And they're always miserable and quiet and terrified of everything. Nurses, they don't care. They just administer their meds, then they go home and they live their life. So it's a very good, I think, partnership to have, and people who are probably a lot more willing to speak out and a lot more organized and just outgoing. So they're going to speak out naturally more anyway. And I assume that their reasons for wanting to support Trump are probably pretty similar to mine in today's day and age. My number one reason is A, I don't want the Democrat Party supporting child sterilization because people or kids think that they are the wrong gender, which is absolutely happening. Number two, I don't want wide open borders for illegal immigrants to just come across whenever they want. Everyone is okay with legal immigration, but illegal immigration is a totally separate issue that everyone used to know was not something that was allowed until the last couple of years when leftists can't really tell the difference between illegal and legal immigration because they've gone into complete batshit crazy mode. And then lastly, the overall decline in human to human relations in this country where everyone is supposedly a white supremacist, Nazi, the worst person on the planet for voting for someone that they don't like. And all Trump supporters apparently are white men who go around beating women left and right and stuff like that. Now, I'm not politically correct at all. You're going to disagree with a lot of my sentiments in general, but I would say probably on those topics, a lot of nurses are in very much agreement because the nurses that I've met are overall pretty conservative in terms of their overall personalities. Maybe financially they have some beliefs here, socially they have some beliefs there. But when you work as a nurse in the ER or the ICU, you get acquainted with the real world pretty damn quickly, especially in a liberal city where half your patient population are like homeless people coming in with open leg wounds and stuff like that. So you get acquainted with that stuff pretty quickly. So I'm willing to bet a lot of nurses are on board with my topics or like my discussion points. And if you are, comment what you believe. I'm not going to force you to believe anything. You comment what you want to believe, and then we go from there. And I think this post, based on how energetic nurses are, could actually be a lot more successful than my doctors for Trump post. And hopefully nurses will do a lot more because doctors, like I said, they generally won't really do much of anything.
I truly did mean it when I said, I hope everybody who voted for Trump gets exactly what they voted for. Nurses for Trump, where you at? He says that you guys don't have a real job. It's not a professional degree. So where you at? Come on, speak up. Come on.
Nurses, male and female, make you want to live. My son, he was dying for 15 months. It was the nurses that gave him hope all the way through. And when I lost my wife and daughter, and my kids were hospitalized, my two boys in a tractor trailer, nurses. I'm not being nice. It's a reality. The single most consequential profession and most underrated.
After Joe Biden speaks, you can feel how personal this topic is for him. He describes how nurses supported his son through 15 difficult months, how they gave him, his children hope during that tragedy, and why he believed nurses are one of the most important yet underrated professionals in America. But while Biden shows deep respect, the country is dealing with new Trump administration's policy that change how nursing degrees are classified. Many Americans feel this decision makes nurse education seems like non-professional, and that has created a huge debate online. People remember how nurses worked long hours during pandemic, cared for patients when family even they couldn't visit them, and keep hospital running when the nation needed them the most. Now, many families, students, and healthcare workers feel this policy devaluate nurses as it can discourage young people from entering this profession. When you watch Americans reacting, you can hear their frustration and disappointment. People feel the government should be supporting the nurse, not lowering their recognition of their work. The contrast between Biden as motion message and current policy is making this topic go viral across the country.
The big beautiful bill strikes again. Nurses to the front, we got to talk about this because this profession, our profession, has been under attack since 2020, since the pandemic. And now, with all the changes that's taken place with this administration, the Department of Education has decided that advanced nursing degrees such as your nurse practitioners, your DNPs, which are nurse practitioners, possibly your CRNAs, because those are also versions of nurse practitioners, are no longer considered professional degrees. Also including your licensed clinical social workers, your educators, also including your physician assistants. I had to remember who else was on that list. Is this not ringing a bell for everybody now? Is it not clicking for people what's taking place? Now, before I say what I got to say, I want everybody to take a step back and look at every profession that is included in what he says is not a professional degree. Please take a look and tell me what the common denominator of all of them are. Don't worry, I'll wait. Because if you haven't figured it out by now, every last one of those professions are driven by women. All of them. All of them are driven by women. Now, it's kind of odd to say that a associate's and a bachelor's degree is considered professional, but an advanced degree, which is your MSNs and your DNPs, are not considered professional degrees. I wonder why. Well, let me tell you. This is a twofold attack, okay? The first one I stated was obvious, is that it's driven by women. It's a woman-driven profession, okay? The second one is the influx in Black people that have entered into these professions. The amount of Black nurses has gone from about 6% since 2020 to about 10-ish% in 2025. The amount of LPNs went from about 13% to about 29% since 2020 to 2025. The amount of Black nurse practitioners from 2020 to 2025 has gone from 5% to 10%. There is currently 260,000 students enrolled right now in nursing school. Each year there has been an increase since 2020 of about 10% for Black people per year enrolled into schools. Now, remember me telling y'all a while ago, I said during the pandemic, stop telling these people that we making yada, yada, yada when it comes to this pandemic, because that will not always be the case, right? They started to regulate how much time we could work, started cutting the overtime, saying we can't make this, we can't do that, start slicing all the contracts, start slicing the stipend, saying now you have to work all these extra hours for not even half of what they were willing to give us at first. They wanted to regulate nursing overtime because nurses started to go in making 6 figures. Well, you can't determine if it's a white or Black nurse that's making that money. So what do? You put a stop to all of it. Now, look at what's about to happen now with the same people that are in this profession as registered nurses who spend on average 3 to 5 years at the bedside. Most of them go on to get a professional degree in nurse practitioner work, which can either be clinical work or mental health, okay? Most NP programs run about 2.5 to 3 years, which means there's going to be a buttload of kids coming out right now, or not kids, I should say, a nice lump of people coming out within the next year, within the next 12 months with a nurse practitioner degree that will no longer be covered by the Department of Education. That program by itself can run anywhere between $30,000 to $70,000 for your degree. What happens? The schools close down. because the people stopped going. They can't afford to be there anymore. They're not getting kickbacks from the government because they no longer have the funding to take care of what they need to take care of. Then also look at it on this side. The students who are currently enrolled in nursing school where their tuition won't be covered will have no choice but to leave and drop out, leaving the workforce with a huge deficit. And when there is a deficit inside of a workforce, the consumer pays for it. In healthcare, that is a dangerous thing to be because we are already overworked as it is. Staffing ratios are not where they need to be. That means people are going to be neglected. There are going to be mistakes that are being made. Lives will be it's going to cost people lives. So for them to make this move, it was very intentional. Very intentional. They knew exactly what they were doing with this. And you are blind as a bat if you can't see that it's in your face. It's in your face. Y'all think it's bad that Meemaw can't get her cup of water and a pain pill when she need it, and she has to wait 20 minutes because we're in the middle of a code or whatever the case may be? Oh, just wait until 260,000 students can no longer complete their program, and most of these nurses are leaving at the 5 to 10 year mark, walking away from the bedside. Just wait until you see how bad that's going to be in the next 2 years. Before this Trump administration is done, it's going to, y'all, I don't think this is the move in the game that y'all want to be playing right now, because nurses will walk away. Nurses will leave the bedside. And then who's going to be there to take care of your loved ones? We literally kept the world functioning, kept the world going. And when nurses aren't happy, nobody's happy. That hospital, that unit, whatever it's going to be, they're going to feel it. They're going to feel it, and they're going to feel it bad. And the nurse practitioners that are there to ease the load of your physicians, y'all think physicians don't make mistakes? Big mistakes that your nurse practitioner catches and your nurses catch? Y'all think they don't make those mistakes? When they're tired and overworked, and that nurse practitioner is there to help ease that? This is going to be interesting. This is going to be interesting. I don't know what to say. I don't know this is going to be very interesting. It's the key to generational wealth for a lot of people. They know a lot of these people who are currently in nursing school. And like I said, enrollment has gone up 10% every year for Black nurses. How many Black people live above the poverty line where they are able to pay for school without student loans?
Let me know what you think in the comment. Do nurses deserve more recognition, and did the policy go too far? This is Likastech bringing you story that matter and reaction that spark conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and guys, see you in the next one. I love you guys.